Hi everyone, April here from Piano Lessons Info, and today this is a video on the essential information that you need to learn to play gospel or worship or church music. Okay, so this is one of the questions I got when I emailed everyone who wanted this type of information, and it was, what are the basics? What do I need to know? So that's what we're going to go over today. So the first thing you need to know to play gospel is chords. Okay, so most music is written in chords these days, unless you're playing only out of a hymn book. But with a hymn book, you can also play chords. So where I see people get into trouble with gospel or playing for church is when they've learned only to read music and someone wants to play something else. So that is a bit hard. So chords is number one. So if you know chords, you can really get away with not knowing much else. It's a good foundation. It's a bit like playing guitar, right? So you can accompany yourself, you can accompany others, and we'll go more into the chords that you need to know in a minute. But first we'll go on to two other essential basic things that are ideal, but you don't have to know them. So the first of the ideal things you can learn is a bit of how to play by ear. So learning to play just by listening, it's not natural for most people. It's a skill people learn. So if you can start to develop this skill, start to try to pick out melody notes on the piano, try to work out what something is, that is a good step, especially if you were to play for church, because it helps you to play for intros, for anyone who wants to sing with you, and things like that. So it's great to work on. Second after chords, I would say. And the other thing that is good to know, it's really nice to know, is how to read music, especially in the treble clef for your right hand, because you will get lead sheets. You can get things all over the internet and on websites like the CCLI website, where they will give you a lead sheet which has the melody written out in the treble clef with chords above. So these can be really handy. So if you get comfortable with reading the melody plus playing a chord, that's quite helpful. Okay, it's like gives you a bit of security, but it does depend on the person. It does depend on what you want to know. It does depend on what you already know. So you can kind of take the skills that you have and then add to them from the different other baskets that I'm talking about. Okay, so let's talk about the basic chords that you need to know really to start out, and they are the major and minor chords. So you don't have to know, there's all sorts of different types of chords, right? But really in the beginning you can get away with playing only major or minor for whatever chord that you see. If there's a small M, you play the minor, but if there's pretty well most of the other things except for diminished, I'm just thinking, you could, if you're unsure and you're put in the position of needing to play for church or yourself, or just starting out yourself, you can just play a major chord or a minor chord and ignore the sevens, the fours, the twos, all those things for now. So in the beginning you need to know major chords and you need to know minor chords. Once you're comfortable with that, then you can move on to the other different types of chords, like the suspended, which will be a sus or a four, like a C4, C sus. A second chord and seventh chords come up a lot. So by that I mean the C7, for example. That's a good one. And minor sevens and major sevens. Those are all important to know. And then it's really helpful to know key signatures. So if you can start to learn about them and get a good handle on what key you're playing in, and what the key signature is and what chords go in that key signature, this is further down the line, but that is what I consider essential information that you need to learn at some point. So if you haven't gotten my chord cheat sheet, you can get it in the link below, and that will give you all sorts of chords, a whole variation of different types of chords, but you can start to learn the majors and the minors. I would focus more on ones that have sharps rather than flats, because lots of gospel music is written these days with sharps, because that's what guitar players prefer. It's a bit easier on guitar. So I would focus on keys like E instead of E flat and things of that sort. So I will be following this up with more information, and I will see you next time. You can always let me know what you think, and if you have any questions, because I've been putting together a big list of questions people have for learning gospel worship church music, and I'm going to steadily make my way through it. So feel free to send me a question if you're having trouble with something. Just trying to put it in order of easiest to hardest. Okay? All right. See you next time. Bye.